All right, let's talk about potting soil. I'm gonna give you the one and only recipe you'll ever need. Seriously, it's super simple, it's way cheaper, and you know what? It works a whole lot better than those pricey bags you get at the garden center.
But first, let's be real. Haven't you ever stood in the garden center just staring at a wall of potting soil and thought to yourself, why is this bag of dirt 15 bucks? I mean, sometimes it's even 20. What's going on here?
Well, guess what? You're not crazy for thinking that. Your suspicion is totally right. Our source for this, Cassette Guide, puts it perfectly. Most of that store-bought stuff is just, well, it's overpriced and it doesn't even do a great job. But don't worry, we are absolutely gonna fix that for good. So here's how we're gonna do it. First, we'll look at what's wrong with store-bought soil. Then we'll get into something I call the perfect soil trinity. After that, we'll meet our 3 magic ingredients. I'll show you the super simple 1-1-1 recipe, and then the best part, we'll talk about how much money you're gonna save. Okay, first up, what's actually wrong with that bagged soil you've been buying all these years? Let's dig in. Okay, so here's the dirty truth, and I mean that literally. A lot of those bags are packed with cheap fillers, like shredded wood, that do next to nothing for your plants. Worse, they can be a breeding ground for those super annoying fungus gnats. And get this, a lot of them have almost no real nutrients in them. Over time, the whole thing just compacts down into a hard brick that chokes out the roots. It's not a great environment for your plants to thrive in. So if we're gonna make better soil, we first have to understand what better even means. And really, it all boils down to 3 and only 3 super important jobs. Here they are. Job number 1. It has to hold on to water, right? So the roots don't dry out. Job number 2, it has to drain water so the roots don't get soggy and rot. That's all about aeration. And job number 3, it's got to provide the food, the nutrients that let the plant actually grow. Simple as that. And our recipe, it absolutely nails all 3. Okay, now for the really cool part. Let's meet the 3 simple, easy to find ingredients that create what I like to call the golden ratio of potting soil. Seriously, it doesn't get any easier than this. It's just 1 part of a base for structure, 1 part aeration so it can breathe, and 1 part nutrition for the food. It's a perfect 1-to-1-to-1 ratio. So let's break down exactly what goes into each of those parts. For our base, the foundation of the whole mix, we're gonna use something called Coco Coir. It's amazing stuff. It's just shredded coconut husks, so it's totally sustainable. It gives the soil great body, holds moisture like a champ, and it's naturally pH neutral. That means it isn't too acidic or too alkaline, which is, the perfect starting point for just about any plant. Now, you've probably seen peat moss, and yeah, it can work. But the reason we're going with Coco Coir is because it's just better all around. It's more eco-friendly, it's not acidic like peat can be, and you're way less likely to get pests. Honestly, it's just the superior choice. Okay, ingredient number 2 for aeration is perlite, and I guarantee you've seen this stuff. It's those little white, kind of popcorn-looking rocks in potting mixes. What are they? Well, they're basically expanded volcanic glass, which is pretty cool. But their job is so important. They create all these little air pockets in the soil, which lets the roots breathe and stops the whole mix from turning into a solid brick. And last but not least, the 3rd piece of our puzzle, the nutrition. And that's where compost comes in. You can really think of compost as the engine of your soil. It's loaded with all the good stuff plants crave: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, all the fuel they need to grow strong. Any good quality compost will do, and if you can get your hands on some worm castings, even better. All right, we've got our 3 ingredients, so how do we actually mix this stuff up? Well, the best part is you don't need any fancy equipment. No scales, nothing. Your part can be anything: a bucket, a shovel, even an old yogurt container. It's all about the ratio. Okay, this is super easy. First step, your Coco Coir usually comes in a compressed brick. Just add some water and watch it expand. It's actually kind of fun. Fluff it up, then just measure out 1 part of that Coco Coir, 1 part perlite, and 1 part compost. Throw it all onto a tarp or into a wheelbarrow and just mix it up until it all looks the same. And that's it, you're done. Oh, and here's a little pro tip for you. If you want to make this mix even better and have it feed your plants for like 3 to 6 months, just toss in a handful of any slow-release fertilizer. Or add an extra scoop of worm castings. This basically supercharges the mix for the long haul. So we've established this soil is way better for your plants. But what about your wallet? Well, this is where it gets really, really good. Let's run the numbers. Check this out. This is the big payoff. For about the same amount of money you'd spend on one of those fancy bags of soil, you can make 5 times as much of this amazing homemade stuff.
Let's actually look at the math here. A premium bag of soil, that's gonna run you about 20 bucks for, say, 1.5 cubic feet. That works out to over $13 a cubic foot. Now, with our recipe, you can buy the ingredients in bulk for maybe 30 bucks total, and that will make you around 7.5 cubic feet of soil. Your costs just dropped to $4 a cubic foot. I mean, the savings are they're huge.
And you know what the best part is? This isn't some specialized one-trick pony recipe. This exact 1-1-1 mix is incredible for just about everything you can grow in a pot. We're talking vegetables, flowers, even your houseplants. This is why we call it the only recipe you'll ever need. It just works.
So really, the only question left is, are you ready to stop wasting money on mediocre soil and start building your own amazing stuff for a tiny fraction of the cost? I can pretty much guarantee that once you try this, you are never going back to buying those bags again.